But
that
otherwise, just using this in between jobs thing to run some role playing games.
very cool?
Yep.
Let's look at our players. Alex
So
would
go clockwise.
give us a
Around the
few.
table.
So let's go around and introduce ourselves. We have two Adams, I believe.
Yeah.
How do we want to? How do actually?
No, we have one that's called Max, and then we have Adam.
Right.
All right.
That's how it works at work too.
Okay.
That
Fair
works
enough.
for me.
All right. So we have Max and Adam. Once we start going, I'm also going to start using character names more frequently. So that would also. Please don't name your characters the same thing. That's going to be very confusing.
My character for
Actually,
someone
let me
else.
name mine Max, and you name yours Adam.
Perfect.
Yeah, and we have Angie, Reese.
Yep.
How do you how did you I know a few people are from Digipen, some are from Soulbound. Are you how did you enter the
So, long story short, I was following the hell out of Revival, and then after Revival went under, I continued following the hell out of the devs, and that led me here. Hi, everybody. I also work in the game industry, going far back as illegal overtime grinder QA in 2003 at THQ. Heyo!
Fun.
And then, various on and off idness and getting shot down way more than I had employment over the past long while, and then fell ass backwards into a dream job back in 2014 at a place called My Dream. Still there. It's remote. It's got benefits. I do stuff. It's great.
that's pretty sweet actually. Remote with benefits is
Yeah.
nice. Also, I have no permissions here, so I actually can't unmute people either.
Oh, let me see if I can get you permissions for the room here.
In theory, you should be able to unmute yourself, right?
Yeah, people should be able to unmute themselves. That's correct.
But either way, let me.
It says that Angie's an admin. So
Mhm.
You can't unmute yourself, Angie?
is it a hardware?
Could
No,
be.
that's a Discord one.
Maybe the wrong button.
You can unmute yourself by clicking the microphone next to your name down at the bottom left corner of Discord's display. I mean, assuming that works. I'm not implying that you don't know what you're doing or anything. That's not what I'm saying.
I'm going to turn the bit rate of the channel up, if I can here, to 128. So that should sound better.
Okay.
Yeah, a little.
Should be able to go into your settings and figure out what your recording device is or something.
Who actually owns the server?
I do.
Can you unmute them?
Let's see.
All right. Oh yeah, let's check that. And in the meantime, let's.
That's
May-
personally
You're
me.
not on push to talk? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm on push to talk too.
Yeah, it's probably not that bad.
No, I can only server mute and server deafen people. I can't locally unmute them. I would imagine for the purpose of not
No
pulling
eavesdropping.
someone out of AFK and then opening their mic to hear whatever they're talking about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, again, for now I'll keep going, and also, Angie, you can try, disconnecting and reconnect chat. And
Stav, I've set you as manager for the channel here, so you can, you've got full permissions. You can do whatever.
cool. Thank you very much.
Good idea.
So yeah, it's the way character creation works here is that we do character generation and then crew generation. I'm going to put actually the first step of crew generation first, just so that we can know what kind of crew we're running before we make characters for it. Just so there's a basic like crew concept going forward or going in. We have 6 crew types to choose from for your band of scoundrels, and none of those are hard limits, but they're kind of, it's going to determine some crew-wide abilities and kind of give you a specialty, but you're all purpose scoundrels. You can do any kind of scoundrelly things that your characters wanna get up to. So first of all,
Did everyone introduce themselves that wanted to, by the way?
Oh, yeah. I'm Alex. Hello. I work
Hey.
at Digipin. I teach math. And yeah, that's basically it.
Nice. I'll introduce myself. I'm Max. I'm a game designer. I met Angie working on what would become Rift. We've basically been friends ever since. And so when I got a chance to sit down and play some D&D with her again, I was like, hell yes.
sweet.
Oh yeah, I do have one game dev credit to my name. I have how many of you have played Frog Fractions?
Yeah, I
Familiar
have.
with it.
I made one of the I made one of the pieces for Frog Fractions 2.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
You've been a part of one of the best educational games of all time.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's I got to be one of the first people to see it too. It was really cool. Like Jim's
Nice.
a personal friend of mine.
That's actually really awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm actually going to be on his podcast this month too. It's gonna be fun.
cool.
As far as introductions, I'm actually Angie's fiance, so that's how I got invited.
By the way, congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Good to finally get a chance to play with you here. Gotten to play with Angie a few times on some of the Saturday night games, but I was waiting when we get a chance to play with you, and it's good to finally get the opportunity.
Yeah, it's really cool.
All right. Has everyone? So it's good to have you all. Has everyone had a chance to introduce themselves that wanted to? I think so. I think we've gone over everyone.
Yeah.
So thank you all for being here.
I am disappointed that I have no chicken chat as well. It's their bedtime. I just put them to bed.
Yeah. Instead, let's start with the crew types.
Yeah.
We have 6. We have assassins, bravos, cults, hawkers, shadows, and smugglers. So, assassins, they're your killers for hire. They do accidents, disappearances, murders, ransoms. They kill people. They get paid to kill people. And they're very good at it. Next, we have the bravos.
So.
They are mercenaries. They kind of do more. They do the less. They also do work for pay, but they do the less subtle jobs. They extort people. They beat people up. They're kind of they smash and grab. They're more of the. They do the more bravado jobs of this setting. There we go. Thank you. The cult, the hawkers, and the shadows.
I'm just
Also,
gonna say, my
this would
preference
be.
right up front
Do people have access to the Sheets PDF?
I don't.
On
Or I missed the link if there was one.
Oh, okay. Let me. There's a link to the drive earlier, but it was
Oh, I found it.
ago.
Yep, I got it.
I
Here,
just
let
linked it
me-
in the chat.
Yeah, I was just say Adam actually linked it earlier. I just didn't see it.
Oh, you got it.
Thank you very much. It's a lot of help.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
was say Adam actually linked it earlier. I just
No,
didn't see
thank
it.
you. Oh, you got it.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Anyway,
It's a lot of
my
Thank you.
like right up front, my preferences is anything on the left three, or in the thing that was just posted, the bottom three, Hawker Shadow Smugglers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning toward Cult, Hawker, Shadow Smuggler, so bottom 4 on that.
Yeah, I like smugglers. I like the idea of a cult. I think, yeah, honestly, bottom 4 would all work for me too.
I honestly have no preference either way.
So looks like cult and smuggling are our two top options. Note that you can dip a bit into the if you're smugglers, right? You can deal with a lot of you can smuggle occult artifacts and whatnot. And if you're a cult, you do still need to pay the bills.
That's true.
Cthulhu does not have a great retirement plan.
You can be like the Masons or the Stonecutters.
Oh yeah. So, and it's really a question of which one is the you want to be the goal of your operation. I think that's one thing to think about. Cults deal with the occult, but they serve their main purpose is serving a god. Smugglers, on the other hand, they're there for profit. They're there for and possibly helping people, right? And working goods.
Yeah.
True. So that's another piece of food for thought. The forbidden cheeses.
These aren't pasteurized.
You are fast on this rulebook. It's been like a year, no, more. Year and a half since I've run this, and it's kind of like it's going back to a place that you've not been in for a while. I read the book. I just reread it a few days ago, and man, it's a very intricate system. The charm
I've
of it.
always wanted to play. I've read a lot about it, and I've watched some Let's Plays, but I've never actually gotten to play, so this is really exciting for me.
Yeah, let's actually let me just look at the crew sheets for smugglers and yeah, cargo types, and we have advance the agenda of the deity. Let's look at some of the others.
There was a lot of talk about ghosts earlier too. Do we want to incorporate that, either smuggling ghost stuff or ghosts themselves, or a cult around ghosts?
Ghosts, yeah, consider that. Ghosts will definitely come into play either way, just because they're such an essential part of Duskwall. It is the haunted city. Ghosts are just everyone becomes a ghost when they die. So dealing with the consequences of that, and just the various hauntings that pop up all around the city are just part of the day-to-day operations of Duskwall. There's a whole institution called the Overseers, where their whole job is finding fresh bodies and dissolving them in soul-destroying liquid before they can come back.
Awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, ghosts are definitely gonna... But they don't get everyone, which is why ghosts are just definitely gonna be a part of the campaign, regardless of whether you're a cult or a smuggling group.
I feel like I'm kind of leaning smuggler. I feel like I don't know. That sounds fun.
I could go with smuggling.
All right, sounds good to me.
All right. Then let's be smugglers. Okay. So we're going to do the rest of crew creation in a bit, but in the meantime, we have a crew of smugglers running illicit goods throughout Duskwall. But first, let's see, who are these people? I'm going to do what Adam did and just share a short screen cap from the book, because the first aspect of character generation, knowing who are we running in the dusk, is the playbook. The playbook is essentially the core. It's your character's thing for the most part, the thing they lean towards. Blades Dark runs into a situation where all the party class is rogue. So, and the kind of the actions of the game and the mechanics try to reflect that. But within that, there are different specialties of rogue, which is what these represent. All the different ways you can operate in the dusk. Do people have access to character sheets on Roll20? Because I set that as part of the campaign for having Blades in the Dark sheet, but I can't see.
Nope. When we click the journal tab, it's empty.
Can you like create a new item on the journal tab, maybe?
Okay, there we go.
And then if I remember right, you have to assign it to a person before the.
Oh, there we go. No, yeah, you can do it. If you do, so can you add? Do you have the permission to add something to the journal? If you go to the journal tab.
I don't see that I do.
Nope.
Yeah, it's a blank for me.
But I think if you add something and then give it to us, then we'll have it available.
Okay. I've made a character with the name that it had in the thing. So
Yeah, I can see it now. Judo O'Horn.
I read through the rules and kind of just like immediately got a character in mind, and then later it looked like we might be pirates on the sea, and I'm like, oh wait, I didn't plan for this.
Duskwall. So Blaze Arc is built for urban gameplay.
Yeah.
Just kind of like the setting of the book and therefore the setting campaign will be a city, right? If you're smugglers, you might be working on the docks and you might be doing a lot of naval operations there, but you're still going to fundamentally be based in Duskwall and in that urban environment.
Okay.
It is very strange that I cannot. I'm just gonna make each person a hunter character.
I think at least 4 people have picked in chat.
No, it's good that people are picking. Just I want for managing character sheets.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to each do, so that I can at least see what people's characters are. Okay, so people should start seeing characters added to their journals.
Okay, I see a dude.
Yep, we just see bio and info right now. We don't see the full character sheet.
Can you go to the character sheet tab there?
Yeah.
It's not visible.
One just appeared for me.
I think it's usually when it's assigned to somebody as an owner that they actually get to see it all.
Oh yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not editable, basically.
Okay.
That's probably not our character.
Right. Okay. Oh, okay. No, I need to set that too for some reason.
Yeah, I think you have to manually assign each one, probably in 2 places.
This is what running classes was like for me last week, at least for the first day.
Okay, so you should now be able to see.
Oh, I see some stuff.
Yeah, because I'm starting to actually. I found the place where I can actually give you the characters.
Okay.
I see 3 in the list now.
Yep, I see.
Yeah, everyone can see because it's different. View and edit are different, so I gave everyone view their item on their edit. So I'm giving everyone can view everyone's character, but only you can edit your character.
Oh yeah, you just type in your what's it called? Your playbook, and it'll fill in the details for you.
Okay. So, again. Yep. So there we go. Now everyone should have access to their character sheets.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay. So that should make things a lot easier because we can now see what everyone's doing.
Okay. Oh wait, which one of these is mine?
Yeah, I just renamed mine to make it easier to find yours.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, Drudo is legendary neurotoxin.
All right.
Ave is Angie's. Atreyak is Snipe Hunter.
Thank you, sir.
And how do they generate these names? Akruga is Alex's.
I've been editing that one.
Yeah.
He will not be a Krug for much longer.
Yes.
Well, I mean, when enough people throw themselves at a name generator system, they'll come up with just some really funny results.
Huh.
Those are, yeah, that's a hell of a generator.
I'm just putting my picture together.
Nice. What do we got? We got a slide. We got. Also, just know that you don't have to. Playbooks don't have to be unique. So don't worry if someone else has taken a playbook that you want. You're allowed to have multiple of the same playbook in the same party.
They're actually extremely versatile.
Yeah. So it looks like we have a slide and a hound. Then Ed wants to be a whisperer, and Max wants to be a spider.
And where on the sheet do I actually enter the class?
Under the playbook,
Yeah, where it says playbook.
you just type it in.
It should recognize it and actually change the rest of the playbook to fit.
There's a box in the way.
Huh.
I think you can just X.
Try tabbing on, tabbing back in.
If there's a way to pop out the character sheet into a separate window, that might help too.
What kind of box?
It looks like you were in my character sheet here.
Oh, okay. Let me exit. See if that helps.
Yeah. Alright, well, it set to leech, but it didn't do the thing. Oh, I see what they mean by playbook.
Yep.
That makes more sense.
Okay. So your playbook should now actually be the leech playbook. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Cool. What else do we have? We have our hound. We have our whisper, spider, and we have our slide. So now that that's done, I'm going to just bring up the heritage. The next section of character creation is heritage. As we're doing this starting character concept. Once we have, I'm going to also just start asking character questions as we get closer to complete characters. Oh yeah, no, the Roll20 UI is like, yeah, but it's still marginally better than everyone having their own. They're like letting everyone see everything. There we go. So heritage. Pretty much where the character comes from. Where does their family come from? It's probably Duskval it's a cosmopolitan place. A lot of people come from different places. So on where it says heritage, don't just write which one it is. Write like a short phrase to kind of illustrate what kind of family does the character come from. For example,
Where are the descriptions of these regions in the book?
currently the region, the full one is at the end, I believe, where it says the Shattered Isles. It's actually
Discord has the short summary though.
yeah, and I put the short summary on the Discord.
Okay. There we go. Don't press enter. It'll do a line break. Unless you need a line break. But,
Where?
Probably anywhere.
Probably anywhere, yeah.
Oh no, where was there a line break? Did I create one?
I created one, then recognized and pressed backspace.
Oh, okay.
It's like usually when I press enter, it doesn't delete the first half of the content.
Right.
But it looked like it did because it did a little line break, but it only lets you edit one line at a time, it appears.
Huh. All right. So, what are people thinking for character concepts? What are?
So
Sorry, I got distracted by putting together my character's avatar. I'll be back in the character sheet in a sec.
No problem.
I would imagine my character would be born at sea near the Dagger Isles, not actually on land.
Mm-hmm.
having kind of an interesting sort of background, more as close to an academic as one might expect for somebody that's living in a trade culture. And that time was spent kind of learning about tinkering and mostly fixing things. That's both objects and mechanisms, large and small, as well as people and animals. And being from the Dagger Isles, that's a kind of important thing, because if our lanterns or other means that we use to ward off ghosts start to have problems and falter, they need to be fixed. And unfortunately, there aren't as many people on hand available to do that as there are ships out there.
So you grew up kind of maintaining the equipment of various sea vessels.
Yeah, mostly the one that I was, living on at any given time.
Okay.
Sometimes trade was, as a trade service, I would do repairs on another ship. And that was something we gained a reputation for, which kind of kept us out of trouble, because, you don't want to basically take shots at your only medic for miles when you're out on the open seas and you happen to see the one crew that can not only fix your shit, but fix any injuries to the best extent possible.
All right. Is your so you we know you eventually ended up in school, but did your family come with you, or are they still far away? Do you know what happened to them?
It's kind of a large family. I mean, all the cousins and uncles and what for ended up being on either cruise together, or eventually when they were able to earn enough and branch out, and the family itself grew enough through marriages and just over the generations that we were able to kind of spread out. And there's some of my family here and there throughout the area. I would imagine I could go to any dock in the region, and there'd likely be some family member of mine. Not that I would necessarily be able to track them down among all of the people, but
Right. Yeah.
someone that, if should I be in the same bar as them, we would have a high likelihood of recognizing each other and catching up.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I forgot. The name of the region is the Shattered Isles.
The Shattered Isles,
Yes.
not the Dagger Isles.
No. 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 The Dagger Isles is a place within the Shattered Isles.
Oh, okay.
Like the
The
Shattered
Shattered
Isles kind
Isles
of.
is the name of the region itself. The
Yes.
overarching region. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So with that, would I be a trade background then?
If you feel it's appropriate. Let me just take a quick look at what the backgrounds are.
Is there a way to look at the other players' character sheets?
You should be able to. Yes. Do they show up in your
To an
journal?
extent, you can see their bio and info, but I don't
Oh,
think
but
you
you
can see the
can't.
character sheet in full.
Okay.
If you want to see mine, you can. Here, I'll put the link to the channel so you can see what I'm up to. But I've got the stream going, so that is one place. I hope the music out there isn't a little too loud and funky. I'm gonna try to close my door a bit here. There we go.
All right. So that is Reese's start. Anyone else have kind of a character concept for me?
By the way, is there somewhere in the book where I can get an idea of like the names of families and stuff like that that would be expected to be found in that area? Is that
Yeah.
written
Let
in the
me
back of
just.
the book?
Oh. Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Probably just. I'm searching in the crew, in the character chapter. Da, 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 da. There is a list of names, but they're not region divided.
Okay. What page is that on?
56.
56. Alright, I will.
There's a list on 303 also.
303, okay.
Okay. 56 and 303.
Yeah, that's in the player section and the GM section. But yeah, they're not neither list is region divided.
That's fine. I can work with that. I figure there might not be that much variance considering how
They are all member. The Shadow Isles are under the thumb of the same Imperium, which is also
Yeah.
a thing to know.
So for my character concept, I'm doing the Hound. I'm thinking that he's also from the Dagger Isles, and he grew up as an actual pirate, attacking other ships and stealing cargo and things like that. I want him to have the Ghost Hunter, which gives him his hunting pet has supernatural abilities. So I want him to have a connection to the ghosts and the supernatural. I think his vice might be like communing with weird ghosts, something along those lines.
Interesting.
But he's like an
Makes
ex-pirate.
sense,
It's too risky and dangerous. He wants to, settle down a little more and do something a little more lucrative and less risky.
Interesting. Yeah, you could have your vice be weird. But we'll actually get there in a bit. But yeah, same for with both heritage and background. Try to try to write again a short phrase to kind of be more specific than labor or law, kind of just to give it your flavor of law or your flavor of trade. Especially because these are not hard. It's not like class where they have hard mechanical impacts. These are just tools to help us define our scoundrels. Alright, so with Thistle, I'm gonna have to ask, what is her demonic tell? Which all those with demon blood. Like for hair or like wing light? What kind of feathers? Okay.
I like it.
I don't suppose there's other thing of Palagine. Are they like multicolored kind of tropical? Okay. Okay. How are... So we have our... So, wait, that is, Snipe Hunt... Oh, so wait, who's Snipe Hunter?
That's me, Max.
Okay, Max. So you are the neglected son of an Akarosi shipping agent.
Yeah. So, figure my father probably ran one of the warehouses on the dock, but was always too busy working all the time. So I spent my time kicking around the dock and sort of learned graft and a few other things. But basically, it was just a punk kid. Ended up a dock worker because of it.
Okay. if your father wasn't around much, during your childhood, who was a major at that time?
I'm thinking a ship captain. I'm trying to figure out who would have encouraged me to hone my intellect, and I thought that might be the most likely case. Somebody I would have run into, not all the time, but certainly frequently enough that they could have challenged me to do things like read particular works, study particular things, learn how stuff worked. But I haven't figured out a name or anything yet.
All right.
I still can't really look at the bios.
Is that Bruce Campbell?
What, my picture?
Yeah.
No, this is
Oh, who-
what's his name? Dick Van Dyke as the chimney sweep in Mary Poppins with an eye patch and some weird shit on his face.
All right.
That pretty much gives you an idea what I'm going for here.
All right. Your pal Terry.
Your old pal Terry. The
Yeah.
chimney sweeping, gadget fixing, heavy lifting, service with a smile.
Solid.
I'm trying to put down like what skills to put on here. I can't really see what other people are choosing, so I'm just kind of like.
Yeah. It looks like to get their heritage and background now looks like concepts starting to form. I'm going to start shifting gears toward attribute dots, or sorry, action dots. This is our first big mechanical character choice. I'm actually just going to put the whole action thing on the Discord. It's page 50 and 59, but just in case. Gonna just upload that. So you get 4 action dots to assign in addition to the 2 or 3 that you should already have on your character sheet. You cannot raise anything above 2 dots. That's your limit at character creation. And it's generally recommended by the rulebook that you pick one that reflects your character's heritage, their family, where they came from, one that fits their background, and then just 2 extra to kind of round out your character concept. One thing to note is that if you look at your character sheets, the actions are divided into attributes. The game occasionally has confusing terminology. The actions are the individual kind of things you will roll for, and they will determine your dice pools when you attempt that action. However, you might notice they're divided into 3 categories. Those are the attributes. Attributes are your saving throws. They're kind of like will, fortitude, and reflex from D&D. Similar concept. They're purely defensive, and they are determined by the number of skills in that category in which you have at least 1 dot. So keep that in mind. I'll also put the attribute descriptions on the Discord. Okay, attributes. Page 32. I said 32. Okay. And here we go. No. here we go for attributes, which will be how you resist consequences, like a particularly charming partygoer or a knife to the ribs. In the meantime... let's-
And it's only 1 point in each, or can multiple points be invested in something, or more points in something you've already got?
Yes, you can put points on something you got. At character creation, there is a limit of 2 points per action.
Okay, that makes sense.
But you can, if you got a free point or something, you can round out that extra point to get 2 points, have 2 points in that action if you want to be good at it. Also, speaking of good at things, this is actually a very, very forgiving system for doing things that your character is not trained in. All the actions in the game are kind of things the characters have seen, interacted with, and they're all scoundrels. They're jacks of all trades. They kind of survive as they go along, which is why if you roll even 1 die, you have a 50% chance of success because it's a 4 or above is a success. If you roll 0 dice, it's not that you don't get to roll. You roll 2 dice and you take the worst, which is a 25% chance of success, which for something that you have no points in is not that bad. Especially because you can bump that up to 1 or 2 dice by spending stress or having a friend assist you. So that's another thing to keep in mind about the spirit of this game. Don't feel too trapped in by your specialization.
Sounds good.
It seems like it's pretty loose being able to use different actions for other purposes that might slightly cross over with other actions.
Yes. You ultimately determine what you're doing, which action you want to use to accomplish your task. It just has to be reasonably based in the fiction. But yeah, there's a lot of wiggle room for which action you want to use to accomplish your character's goals.
I'm thinking to study 1 finesse and 1 attune would make sense for what my character would be doing. They'd be spending a lot of time looking at things in detail before taking action. You know, the measure twice, suture once, etc. So, you know, it's definitely between repairing things and you know, just making sure they're doing the right treatment, getting the right analysis before they start poking around in somebody's wound.
Yeah.
So, high amount of study, and then attune for being able to kind of determine what part of something is broken on one of the ship lanterns, or any other sort of like ghost related business, trying to tell if what somebody's suffering from is possession versus an ailment.
Right.
So that would be the 1 point in that, and then 1 point in finesse. You know, staying on his feet, sea legs, operating ship components, doing fine tinkering and manipulations and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm thinking. So that's all good.
Yeah, no. As long as you're signing for... Yeah, no, that sounds good.
Cool.
I'm going to turn to Adam for a moment. You've probably seen a lot of weird stuff on the high seas, you know, dealing... Especially if your ship ever went outside the lightning barrier that protects the city from ghosts. So I'm going to ask you, what's something you saw on the high seas that just sticks with you to this day?
Probably something Leviathan related, like some sort of extra horrific or large Leviathan just destroying other ships, something along those lines.
Which one is your character again?
The hound, or the name of it? I didn't lose audio. It was just quiet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just looking at the version, kind of seeing how I can tie these characters. So I noticed that Terry and Wager are both laborers from near the docks. Do you feel you've run into each other in the past?
Oh, I've run into a lot of people. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
that would make sense.
I know a little bit of everyone.
All right. Um, Thistle. So you mentioned Underworld. What? Also, regarding Tycheros, did you come to Duskwall or were you born in Duskwall? In Duskwall.
Sorry, wait, who are you asking?
And Thistle's player. Okay. It's fine. So I guess the question is why? Tycherosi are very particular about how they like their coffee. Okay, so how are people doing on attributes?
I'm
Or,
still
actions,
deciding
action dots.
one of them. I have this idea, and I don't know if it is possible, like a little bit of rule bending, because I'm looking at the special
Yeah, no, talk.
abilities,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at mesmerism.
Uh-huh.
When I sway someone, I might cause them to forget it's happened until they next interact with you. I I was imagining him having an actual kind of scary power of mesmerism with command instead of sway.
Um, give me. So who has the mesmerism?
I also have a point in sway already, so I mean I could go either way on this.
Let's. I'd run. Interesting. Which character type? Which character are you?
Are you
Alex?
talking to me or Andy? Oh, mine.
Yeah.
Mine's the slide.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. Terry. I feel like the character concept can work. I'm willing to give you to
It's fine. I actually
make a note of that.
do this under Sway as well.
Yeah, but also, yeah, also like if it's the character, if he's a very friendly fellow, then giving him a kind of like a weird friendly.
Yeah. Oh,
You're-
so here's the thing with Terry, and it's kind of like I was thinking of maybe like revealing this in the middle of the thing, but that's probably not going to work very well. He has a real dark presence that he doesn't let a lot of people see.
Yeah, I figured it was something like that.
Yeah, his bio is pretty vague for a reason. He's not missing an eye, but there's something down there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Also note
Something
that like I feel like that we can kind of roleplay a bit around what the characters know and don't know.
Yeah.
Feel free to like talk about setting up a story and then
Yeah.
how the characters play it out.
Yeah. I think I decided that I could do this with Sway as well. It would be very kind of like make someone believe something and not make them do something.
Yeah.
Because what a lot of people know Terry, and what most people don't know about Terry is that he's not just one person in there.
Ooh. Okay, that's going to be interesting to explore.
Yeah, it is. I like it. It could. There's someone else in there. It could be a ghost. It could be some other personality. But his left eye is very different from his right eye, and and he looks and acts very differently when it's visible.
All right. There's definitely something weird going on.
Yeah, including getting people to sort of like mesmerizing people with Sway and getting them to forget it ever happened. Less so that they actually forget, and more so that they are uncomfortable remembering.
Nice. I'm gonna actually transition a bit to how ghosts, a little bit how possession works.
Yeah, I know possession's an actual thing, and I don't want to like have him actually be possessed because that sounds horrific. So we could play with this.
Yeah, no, let's play with it because like possession exists, but it works in its own way. But I love that idea. So we can explore later like what arcane things have created the being that is Terry.
Yeah, I mean, if it is whatever it is, it's been there a while, and
Been there a while.
they have an understanding.
Okay. Angie, I'm gonna ask where did she learn to make those? All right. And let me actually, just thought of another question that I should probably throw your way. Who were your first contacts in Duskwall? Because did you come here knowing? Did you have a contact when you came in, or did you come here? And then, if so, who did you use to establish yourself in Duskwall's underworld? Okay. Oh, you're new. Interesting. All right. Besides, there are plenty of Taikarosi in Duskwall. At least something. those kind of communities help when you move into a new country.
I would figure.
Well, if you need connections, I got you hooked up because I'll be your connection, my lady.
All right. So
I figure my character would be coming to visit his cousin Zeeb Rudderlin to do a repair job he was requested for a few years ago, and kind of found the area to be maybe a little more profitable and lucrative than staying around the Isles back there.
makes sense. You mentioned that you have family kind of all over the Shadow.
Yeah.
Cousin here, great aunt there.
Yep. And being specifically asked for by name for a repair is, kind of a sign of notoriety among the family that, I'm actually known for my work instead of just being one of the cousins who may or may not be able to do a good job.
Right. All right. So we have just trying to like make a bit of a sheet. We have Wage and Terry are both from near the docks. They're also both Akarosi, if I'm pronouncing that right. Which I'm probably not. Yeah, no, it is Akarosi. Okay. Then we have Thistle coming in. She's new in town, looking for new contacts on the run from a much weirder place. We have Czar, a greasy-haired repairman, settling down after.
Wait, I don't. Which one is that? I'm trying to find you on the
Oh.
character sheet.
The character's still named Drudo.
Oh,
Okay. But his friends call him Czar.
I think it's you have to click edit? Question mark? To like actually say the name?
It's edit in the very top right,
There
and
we
if you
go.
have it popped out, you
Yeah.
have to go back to the base window. It's really confusing.
I like Drudo for his alias, though. I'll take that.
Okay. Let the random generator decide.
I mean, unless you want me to think of something of my own.
No. I'm just thinking of like there's like internet generated aliases.
Yep.
If it works for Childish Gambino, it's good enough for Drudo.
Yes. Agreed. All right.
So now that I feel it looks like people are kind of ooh, Drifter. Are you also new to Duskwall? Or have you
I think so. I think
you've been around? Okay.
Yeah, maybe we came on the same ship together.
Actually, that would be a cool thing if you and Thistle kind of just got to know each other because you both just came to Duskwall.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Just like, boy,
So-
there's some stuff to smuggle.
It's me. All right,
Like,
so
crazy on a boat. It's like, God, I'm gonna smuggle so much when I get out of here.
now that once everyone signed their Axonaut Next is just a special ability, you're going to see on your playbook there should be just a list of special abilities. Just mark 1. It's a thing that you can do.
I really wish I could see people's character sheets.
I think if you gave everybody edit ability to everybody's sheets and we were just really careful, we might be able to see everybody's sheets, but it's risky.
Who is okay with letting me give everyone edit permission for their sheet?
I'm okay
Drifter
with that.
Adam is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't mind.
probably not a problem, but I imagine there's some way that you could actually set it up to just do view instead of edit, and it just share these sections for everybody. I'll try to look for it or something.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Oh, cool! I can see it. Wait. Hang on.
Oh my god, you're right. It's a parrot and a parrot.
Is there some kind of seagull or I don't know, water bird that's common to the city?
Not real. Because most of the stuff outside the barrier is kind of contentious, but also there's no daylight, which makes things kind of weird. So if there are birds, it's nocturnal birds. Actually, I'm gonna look that
That's
up.
kind of cooler. What kind of nocturnal birds would there be?
Nocturnal. Yeah, because part of the cataclysm, part of what it caused is that the sun no longer shines. There's the moon or there's nothing. So people just kind of have to make do. Lanterns are just an everyday necessity, and for a while, growing any plant was really, really hard. But eventually, alchemists figure out how to basically genetically modify plants so that they become bioluminescent. It's called radiant energy, and that is how they generate their.
That's like how the lanterns and stuff work.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering is because I'm going to do the Ghost Hunter special ability, I think. So I need some guidance on what kind of cohort expert hunter pet. I was thinking some kind of bird would be neat.
Yeah. I wonder if the rule book has some more.
I was kind of flipping through there, but I wasn't sure where to look.
Okay, so rituals are at page 223 of the rulebook. And that one also includes a couple sample rituals, but I believe that it just has a bunch of just it's pretty easy to make your own if you want to. The game plans for it, and you kind of.
The answer about the character sheet sharing is as recently as February 4th of this year, the Roll20 team finally said, all right, we're taking your suggestions on this and we'll look at the feasibility of it. We'll let you know.
Wow.
So it might be a feature during the course of the campaign, but right now you'll just have to set everyone to edit.
All right, so I'm doing that. Hell yes. Okay, so I believe everyone should now have edit permissions for everyone, so you can now actually see each other's character sheets. Yay!
Yep.
Okay, so it looks like people are starting to get into their abilities. Does anyone need more time, or should I move on to the next step?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So, oh, what's that in chat? Cultist. Ba-da-ba-da. Yeah, both solid options for the weird and strange. So heritage, action dot, special ability. Oh yeah, the next is close friend and rival. You will have 4 characters on your character sheet. They should be. Yep. Should be just on the right side towards the bottom. One of them is your friend. One of them is a friend or someone close to you. The other is a rival. So yeah, you're. Think about who they are and why do you interact with this person, what they mean to you. It only gives them a name and a profession, so you have a lot of leeway regarding who they are and what your relationship to them is.
Hmm.
You said there was information about them in the book, or is it posted in chat here?
No, I don't. Sometimes some of them show up in other.
Oh, here, no, it's in the. There's a little message about each of them in your character's class page thing.
Yes. There we go. Yeah, a few questions. Yeah, each one has a name and a profession, and in the rule book, if you go to start page 61, it also includes a couple questions, for you to think about regarding who is this person in relation to you. Also, actually, I don't think if any of you the same playbook. Have Hound.
I don't believe we duped up.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
Do we fill out our items now, or do we do that like when we start a mission?
Oh, no, you do not. You have access to all of those items.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
The way the inventory system. So another note about Blades in the Dark. It is a very retroactive action happy system. You will be going on scores, and your characters, they'll be doing some extensive planning before each score, planning out contingencies, points of entry, different contacts, whatever. You, the players, don't actually have to do all that. You do some of that, and you determine a point of entry. But then, once you know how you're coming in, we shift to the action. And then, during the score, if one of you wants to take if at any point one of your characters, when you want to say, hey, things are going south, but I planned for this, and here's an action I took before the score to prepare us for this moment, you can do that. And the same thing applies to items. At the start of the score, you will only determine how heavy a load you're carrying, and then throughout the score, you can just mark items and take them, as long as they don't overburden you, and say, yeah, I just brought this with me. And I knew I would need this.
Okay.
I think one of the good examples in the book was if your whole group gets all their weapons taken away, you can do a flashback that you had prepared for that and ahead of time by setting a stash of weapons somewhere in a hidden spot for you to go find later.
Yep, some examples include the hidden stash. It could be paid off one of the people here. One of the more outrageous ones is actually before the score. I studied the train timetable so that I know that when I'm going to right now jump out the window, it's going to be onto a passing train.
Nice.
And that caused stress. The more like unlikely the thing is, I'm going to demand a bigger stress cost, which is the resource that you're going to spend to kind of do fancy thing. But yeah, that's a thing you can do in the system.
Nice. I'm going to go AFK for a sec, but first I will give you the answer. Stasia, the apothecary, I kind of met them when I was running low on medical supplies and was able to trade repairs for supplies. They had some equipment that they use for their own sales and production and such that had kind of worn down and had some issues. So I was able to kind of see what the problems were. We were able to order some pieces to get them fabricated and fixed up, and sure enough, everything was running pretty well afterward. So anytime they need maintenance on that or need perhaps a new gadget or device to produce a new product, they'll usually reach out to me or I'll reach out to them and we work something out. My less liked person in town is a corpse thief named Eckerd, who he hates every medic in town, all up and down. Anyone who's ever performed a triage to, the established doctors. But anybody who will actually take time to heal somebody who's wounded on the street, even for a coin, oh, he loathes them. And so me, just another one of his many enemies.
Seems like a rotten fellow.
Yeah, he's a dick. Alright, I'll be back in a sec.
Alright. So actually, also for the people new to Duskwall, Adam and Angie, consider that these are some of the first people you're meeting in a new town. So fancy that. New town, new country. And you're already making enemies. Oh yeah, no. The overseers that I mentioned earlier, they're always on the hunt because ghosts in general are dangerous. The overseers are always on the hunt for ghosts, and ghosts, especially early on, still maintain the personality of the people who died. So they're like they don't want to get hunted down and dissolved. The opportunity will definitely come up. Or both. But yeah, let's see who people in this town know. Alright, so Adam, you know a physiker. You get into a lot of scraps?
Yeah, tends to get in a lot of scraps, and he's smart enough to know that making good friends with a physiker right off the bat when you get to a new place is probably a good idea.
Fair enough. Yeah, it looks like you aren't too friendly with the law if a sentinel is,
Yeah, I'm thinking there was some sort of, I don't know exactly what, some kind of guard in the docks, and he was trying to maybe smuggle some goods with him along the ship when he was coming to town, or maybe cross them somehow.
Mm-hmm. So who's Wage?
That's me.
Sorry, can you say your name? I was on the okay, Max.
That's me, Max. Yep.
Yep. Thank you. I should write this down. Cause that why else do I have a notepad open? Mean that Andrew Adam? Reese's. So,
Czar is Reese, and we just kind of went over him.
yep, and then yeah. Zara is Reese, Thistle is Angie, Terry is Alex, Andrew is Adam, and Wade is Max.
Okay.
So yeah, Wage, how did you run afoul of an information?
Well, it's. I figure it was kind of. I mean, honestly, just one of those things that happens. I was, I was working on the docks, and I sort of had a thing going where I was, skimming a little off the top now and again, and selling them to folks in need. And she found out about it, and cut a deal with the ship captain that I was working with to cut me out of the deal entirely, so that I sort of lost my gravy train. At which point I was like, what the hell? Right. But we've been at odds ever since. I'm not saying we're at war or anything, but
No. These aren't sworn enemies. Like, the negative could just be like your rivals or you side-eye each other on the street occasionally.
Exactly. I mean, I get the business is business and all that, but damn it. I'll get that one someday.
All right. So our final step, as people are kind of getting their friends and rivals, is the vice. The vice is what your character does to de-stress. They do need some kind of purveyor for that vice, which means it can't be something your character does completely alone.
Huh.
That thing could be a group, could be a library if you're, that, but the whole deal is that the character needs to do something to de-stress, and they have some kind of support network that gives it to them.
Okay. Well, mine was gonna be for Terry that his hidden entity, basically he just goes on a bender for a few, maybe even days, where his like hidden entity just basically takes control of him, kind of like a Mr. Hyde situation.
Yeah.
Goes out
Could
and causes problems.
could be that Terry's other half is the vice purveyor.
Oh yeah. His,
If it
the
lets
other
Terry
guy
de-stress.
is
Really, because like if there are problems with the vice, I could say that there are problems with Terry's other half.
yeah, the other guy's named Flinch, by the way. Just
Lynch. So if like, for example, one of the consequences I can inflict is that your normal vice purveyor cuts you off. So I could say that like Flinch doesn't want to come out, or he's like brooding or something. I don't know.
Like all kinds of bad things can happen. So for my enemy, this is kind of like an Inspector Javert situation or a Sherlock Holmes situation. There's a guy who is convinced that there is a string of violent incidents that are all connected to one person, and the person is Flinch.
All right.
And this is like the the scene in the police officer is like, it's Crass, let it go. You're never gonna solve. He's like, no, I know it's some guy. I'm gonna find him.
All right.
Or he could just like get lost for a week or something if he overindulges.
Oh yeah, no. Like one of the things for overindulgence is like the character just goes AWOL for a bit. That could be like that Terry is lost in Flinch's personality.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to come back. So yeah, that makes sense.
What kind of support network would exist for consorting with ghosts? Like just getting lost, talking to them about the past, or
Could be the ghosts themselves, or it could be somewhere in the city where the barrier, where the ghost field is particularly potent.
if the ghosts themselves work, I think I want to go with that.
Okay.
I'm back, by the way.
Ghost speakeasies. Yeah, also on page 299 of the rulebook, there is a list of vice purveyors. But yeah, that's not an exhaustive list. It's just
What was
Ooh. So, I mean,
Page-
it sounds like we're pretty docs based.
yeah. The next thing is going to be like set up a base of operations, and looks like this crew is going to be based in the docks.
Oh yeah, we're so docs. Like, we got some people who came in from the docks. We have a dock worker who's kind of our mastermind. I think Terry's job is when new people arrive, he kind of like inserts himself in there to show them around and take them on a walking tour and hook them up with services.
Yeah, it looks like Terry's going to be pretty essential for like the formation of this group, just as like the person who knows a lot of people and can bring them together.
the strange attractor?
Yeah, just a weirdness magnet in general.
But he just looks like such a charming guy. Like, the kind of like condescending blue collar stereotype. Oh, look at the cute little chimney sweep cavorting about.
Yeah, so is that how he got noble connections?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Also, kind of like first thing I want to do is make like a copy of Mary Poppins, but that would be kind of weird. It's kind of like think like Rose from Titanic, just like someone really bored and wants to misbehave, so she goes out and wants to like know where all the cool fights are happening and where to basically a clueless rich tourist.
She's slumming it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's not very bright.
Oh well. So yeah, once people have their vices down, just the rest, you're basically done with character creation.
Cool.
The rest is just write down some of the
I should probably explain
some
that
basic character details, what kind of their style is, what their countenance is like. And then we are going to move on to crew creation.
Okay.
So the vice then would be specifically working on like a sort of.
Sorry, you
master-
cut up. Could you?
Oh, maybe I should turn the gain back up. That should be a little better. Working on a mastercraft project at his cousin's shop, so it's going to be a very specific device that really it's very secretive, and the details of it haven't been revealed to anybody yet. But it's quite the project, and it's going to take quite a bit of time. So that's kind of the aspect of the obligation is a sort of obsession to create this new sort of device that will kind of revolutionize a certain industry that will help the family greatly.
All right. So but the obligation is to the family ultimately. I'm
Specifically,
asking.
Yeah,
Yes.
that this is a just between table talk. This is not something the character would ever reveal. It's a new form of lantern that it's much more efficient and runs off a crystallized form of the Leviathan blood.
Okay.
Neat.
And
Crystallized with an agent.
Yours is Czar, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the agent that it's crystallized with is something of great power of its own, and it kind of works as like a catalyst and a booster of sorts.
Hmm. So, Angie, I noticed that you put luxury as your vice. Where did Thistle get a taste for the finer things in life?
Also, how did you get a demon enemy?
Huh. Interesting.
The tub is in the bathtub.
Maybe the question is where she's going to get a lecture from now.
Yeah, that's another. Well, that's the next question is the purveyor. But if you want some, there are actually a bunch of luxury NPC 299 of the rulebook, which has just a list of purveyors for the different vices, including luxury. Um, Actually, yeah, one of the example Dundridge and Sons, fine fabrics and tailoring.
I'm imagining when like after when we reconvene to do the next job after we've been indulging, like half of us look like we haven't slept, and uh this Strel is like just she's got like this fancy hat on, but she's trying to like play it off like it's nothing. I don't know where our money went. Hides rings.
But yeah, if your goal is to like hunt some like nicer things, you're probably to Night Market, which is it's the city's kind of main commercial district. Well, the city actually has multiple commercial districts, but Night Market is kind of famous for being where you can find some of the fancier stuff and some of the weirder stuff too. That's why it's called the Night Market. So yeah, the last part of character creation is just you know, the details, name, alias, and looks. It looks like everyone kind of has that. Does anyone want some more time to flesh out kind of, the name, the look, the presence?
I think there's a page on the book about like what look like a list of looks to choose from. Oh, there's a list of clothes you can wear on page 56.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Page 56 has clothes, looks, and aliases. There's like a bunch of like things. Again, these are all suggestions. So if you have an idea of what you want to do, and even if not, and even if you do, just maybe take a look at it just to see if something like, ooh, I didn't know I could wear what's a waxed coat? Actually, I don't know.
there's also those of us who like have no idea how Victorian fashion works or the names of any of these. Like, what's a half cape?
A wax coat's kind of like a pea coat. It's just made out of what the hell is that called? Oilcloth or whatever.
Yeah. And a half cape, I think, is just a short cape. Oh no, or maybe not. No. Interesting. Okay.
What page is all that on? What page is all that
I wish I knew more about fashion.
Yeah,
what page was that?
So page 56 is where you have a bunch of names, aliases, looks, and clothes.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Oh. So yeah, I found an image of a half cape.
I just mentioned
Kind
it
of.
as an
It's like a
example.
short. It's kind of a short cape. It's like
I'm
kind of
just
like a poncho almost.
on chimney sweep look here.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of it boils down to like what stands out about your character, or do they stand out? There's also a question of if we're going to be set around the docks, character's wearing a fancy hat, it's going to stand out, or maybe your character stands out by being the most soot-covered person in the room.
I mean, there's a lot of competition for that particular prize.
True.
His difference is he makes it work. Like amateurs
It's
just like
soot
put
chic.
soot all over themselves, and they just think like, "Oh, I'm blue collar chic." No, 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 man, you got to work this out.
So let's go to Pinterest. Um, this is an image of Edwardian deckhand. Also, this is from England, from like looks like late 90s. Edwardian means early 20th, but close enough, I guess. It could actually. When did the Edwardian start?
Late 1890s.
So after Victoria.
Okay, it is 18, so it is also late 19th century.
Yeah.
History too is complicated. Um. Ooh. It's a fancy look. I love that. What's it? What? Makes me wonder what's in that pistol. Is that liquid?
Ghost juice.
Ghost juice. Actually, electroplasmic bullets are a thing because it's hard to, harm ghosts with regular bullets.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
I think there's a those of us who like making elaborate characters, it's tricky for these games because you always start on level 1. You're not going to be good at much yet. Like you are going to grow into this character that you probably have in mind, I think.
I mean, so level 1 is kind of a relative term here. The characters are assumed to be experienced rogues, right? This isn't their first rodeo. That's why they already have some enemies in
Yeah, I don't think this
faction
game
sheet
is
later on, and like mark some like which factions like you, which factions don't, because you've already made some in the under Duskwall. This isn't like D&D where you're starting out with like complete nothing and like a stick.
Okay. I guess that makes sense since your character might not last very long in this game if things go particularly poorly.
They might not.
When we get to
Depends on how you want to
tutorial,
run
I
it.
think that makes sense.
Note that also you have ways of resisting consequences, so you're vulnerable, but you're not squishy or helpless. The world of Duskwall is rough, but you're slippery. Ignore that whistle. Also note that I've been alternating between Duskwall and Duskval. Duskval is the city's original name. The city was founded many years ago, millennium ago, by the Skovlanders, who are kind of a cross between They kind of have a lot of Slavic, both Nordic and Slavic influences in them. But eventually it became part of the Imperium, and today it's mostly settled by Akarosians, who are more Western European, and they kind of like Duskwall is the city's original name. Duskwall is kind of the name that people have started calling it over the years, and people use both a little bit interchangeably. So, what are people?
Are we going to make the factions, or are we going to like use factions out of a box?
No. This game comes with a big box of factions, which
Okay,
we
yeah,
will
let's just
use.
do
Yeah, this game is both a system, but it's all right. Like the city, the book details the various districts of Duskwall.
that. Yeah,
Um,
sounds good.
some important NPCs, who the major factions are, and some of the less major factions are. Just kind of like, yeah. I'm just gonna post a list of all the factions that the game kind of has like a quick list.
What page is that on?
The list is on 282, and it kind of then goes into detailing them. But yeah, here's the faction list.
Ah.
Plenty of people to cross, as you see.
What does hold mean here?
Hold is whether they have a strong or weak hold on their tier. So tier kind of represents how strong, like the kind of their overall positioning. And then strong or weak is then hold is where they have a S, which is a strong hold on their current position, or W, which is a weak, kind of tenuous hold on their current position in the faction game. If you're weak, you're more liable to just go down a tier. Cause like if someone messes with you. Well, if you're strong, people have to, do more work to really hit you. Because you're established at the level that you are at. Where one is like the absolute, like almost individuals, kind of like very, very underground things without too much power, and 6 is the imperial military, right? That's kind of the scale we're working at here. 6 it's most actually 1 to 5. The reason 6 because they're actually generally outside the scope of what the player characters can, do. Although again, nothing is completely impossible. So I've added the crew is also a character. So I've added their sheet to kind of like give people a peek of the next step if you're still writing your bio and looking at kind of like what does my character look like, who are they when they walk into the room. That's fine. We're not transitioning into that yet. But if you are done, I will give you something to look at so that you can kind of see where things are going to be going.
Cool. I think I've got the appearance down for now.
Nice. Yeah, the crew will also have a tier and I believe you start tier 0, but you have a strong hold on that tier 0 spot.
That's like when they made me a senior adjunct.
Nice.
Oh, did someone disconnect? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yep. It's 2 more dogs. All right. So I'm just kind of gonna take a quick look. We have Czar. So we have Andrew, played by Adam, our weird underworld pirate looking to maybe settle down and find his place in a new town. We have Terry, everyone's friend, with a dark secret. Then we have Thistle, our strange fugitive from a strange land. Wage, the local dock worker, with many a shady deal. It seems many a shady dealing. It's like
Always looking for the angle.
You start
True.
with 7 stat points, right? Total.
yes, you should start with 7 action points total. 3 from your playbook and 4 more. Without, and you should not have more than 2 in any one action.
Oh, I'm too short.
And finally, we have Czar, our mechanic with a family member at every port. Naval mechanic, too.
Handy.
Yeah, I'm thinking more and more we might just have a ship.
Oh, you almost
Really?
certainly have a ship, but you are... actually, there's a good chance... Let's see, because I'm looking at the kind of what can I give you?
I think smugglers come with a vehicle, and then like, we can use our ability. One of the crew abilities is to upgrade that vehicle, I think, to make it better.
Yeah, you do start with a vehicle. So yeah, that vehicle can be a naval one. Good to know. How are people feeling on character bio and appearance?
I'm pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good, I
Yeah, I
think.
didn't
And
really
I'll
write
fill
anything
out.
in the notes, but I think I'm pretty good.
Okay, so I've kind of done a roll call, but I do want to just kind of like a snippet of their character in their world. So let's go
Their what?
around and have people kind of introduce their you know, who is their character kind of at first glance. Let's start with I'm just gonna go in the order that you show up 20. The Andrew.
Oh yeah, that's me. Drifter.
That is you.
So let's see. He really looks just like a pirate. He has a long cape. Usually he has guns of some kind around.
Hmm.
I'm still trying to settle on a pet, but I'm kind of thinking maybe an owl, but that seems a little weird. But I kind of like the owl too.
Owl's cool.
What else did
Also,
you
you
want?
can just say we can just say seagull, and then we can say it's some kind of weird night seagull that doesn't exist on Earth.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Is some kind of night seabird, but I don't even know what that would be.
This place definitely has raven vultures.
Huh. So yeah, we'll call it a sea. If you want, like let's just for the feel. I get what you say it's seagull. And if we need to hash out the details, then we'll do that at a later date. But it's like if we get down to it, it's a kind of bird that's native to. They call it a seagull, but it's not quite the same seagull that we know. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think one of his gimmicks is it's going to have the ability with linked senses, so he'll be able to like snipe using what the bird can see, kind of deal.
Interesting. What's the bird's name?
That is a very important question that I need to come up with an answer for.
All right. Do you want to come up now, or do you want me to get back to you?
Come back to me on that one.
Okay. So next up is Terry. Alex, tell us a little bit about
You're
Terry.
about Terry. That's right. That's right. Your chimney sweeping, gadget fixing, heavy lifting service with a smile. All right, I can know what you want, and I can get it to you real chip cheerio. Eh, what? Bob's your uncle. I'm gonna run out of copies.
Wow.
Sorry. There's good timing on that. So yeah, I see Chimney Sweep with an eye patch and a big toothy grin, right?
Oh, the biggest grin in the whole city.
Yep. So
You what? You know what you want. I can get it to you dirty or clean.
all right. Thistle. Write us unfortunately, if the mic isn't set up, write us a bit about what Thistle is like. What do we notice when she walks into the room with us? All right. What's her attitude like? Is she kind of more okay, yeah. Oh, does she carry the toys on her? Kind of like a few contraptions, either like, in a bag or just hanging around. Cheerful. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Let's go on to Wager. So Max, tell us a little bit about Wager.
Yeah, sure. At first glance, Wage is, just a big, broad, tall, kind of oafy looking dude. In fact, he definitely is smarter than he looks, but that really wouldn't be that hard. He's, always wearing a sort of like casual smile on his face, but, he's also always wearing the exact same set of, homespun trousers and loosely toggled shirt that he obviously works in all day too. He's not fancy, but he's always happy to help and generally knows everybody who knows anything. So he's always the guy that people come to when they're looking for stuff. And on the docks, he's one of those guys that can find pretty much anything if you give him a few days.
All right. And finally, we have Czar Drudo Rudderland. So tell us a little bit about Drudo, Adam. No, Adam is Andrew. Reese is Drudo.
Mm.
So Reese,
At
tell us
first
all about
glance,
Drudo.
At first glance, Drudo looks like something slightly more formal, yet ready to get dirty and clean off than the conventional sailor. While he doesn't stand eye to eye to the average man, his dark hair and mustache combined with a bold and confident posture cause, a few lusty lad or lady to put eyes on him. A well-oiled bag bearing the medical symbol hangs by his hip from a shoulder strap, and various other pockets in his jacket, long jacket, and wide belt reveal he might be carrying, various tools and supplies for various tasks and purposes. Uh, Usually, you would see him somewhere around his cousin's shop, or just taking care of business in the area, small orders and commissions, hearing reports or rumors of some either dock workers or perhaps sailors on a ship complaining about their lantern sputtering and having trouble, and immediately appearing as if not even asked for and simply summoned to negotiate a repair, get it done, and charge a bill.
All right, thank you.
And every now and
So
then, after a scuffle, he'll
yes,
sometimes
continue.
try to track down, the party that got the worst of it, and unless they had just been robbed, try to start fixing them up in exchange for, a little coin, a little few scales for the service and the troubles, and to make some new friends in the area. Obviously, being careful not to play favorites to one faction or the other, lest to start being associated with one and be targeted by the others.
All right. So this is our crew of naval newcomers, weirdos, and scoundrels, which will be getting on to some will be causing quite a stir at Duskwall's docks. And with that, we're going to transition into crew creation. So we did the opening from the start. We're going to be a group of smugglers. You start with 2 coin, so you have. So you should all be able to see the crew as a separate character. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Yep. You can also all edit, similar to the character. Same with the character sheets.
Mm-hmm.
You start with 2 coin. You do start as a tier 0 gang. You're all experienced crook, but the gang this crew is new. But you are established as like you've already done the preliminary work to establish yourself as a force, as an organization. By the time we're going to start play, you've already, you start with a small reputation. People have heard you've already done a couple of you before. So yeah, speaking of reputation, let's how are you the first step of crew creation is actually reputation. This is going to be on page 93 of the rulebook, but let me just post it on the Discord as well.
So we've got 8 attributes.
Yeah, and you need to pick one for your initial reputation. What kind? Again, now I'm just going to throw it out to the table. How do you tackle stuff? How do you deal with people as a group, not just as individuals?
I mean, the one that strikes out to me most is professional.
Interesting. Okay, professional as a room. Also, just from the characters you've made, I think that Strange would be
Yeah.
an appropriate one, just from like you have people from Takaros, people communed with ghosts.
I kind of like daring also.
Daring also has a lot of potential, especially if you can do the jobs that other crews won't touch. Hell yeah, you can.
I'm thinking probably a little more on the somewhere between daring and professional.
All right.
Yeah.
You do need to pick one though.
Wagers
So
are spider. I feel like I feel like if you're the mastermind class, you have some insight on how you're gonna how you're gonna do things.
yeah,
Yeah, I admit I lean towards daring.
Daring. I like daring.
okay.
I mean, that's the theme of the game, isn't it?
Right?
Can be if you want it to be. Then yeah. Um. So crew, reputation, daring, layer. So yeah. Oh yeah.
Daring. I think daring's gonna be fun.
So yeah, layer half sunken grotto is a good one. Might.
Hmm.
You could also come up with your own one if one ship, your ship could also like you could have a small like thing docked off the you know. So yeah, where do you all meet?
Sounds like by the docks somewhere.
Yeah, but like it could be a lot of these different buildings. I like the idea of some kind of transportation that doesn't work anymore, or some kind of building that just like doesn't have a purpose anymore that people kind of ignore.
That's kind of what the half-sunken grotto sounds like almost.
I kind of like the idea of an old lighthouse that two much larger lighthouses kind of were built and eclipsed it, and at a good time because where the first one was, a large ship kind of ran aground and smashed the area up pretty good, and in fact
Oh, you had one job.
made it kind of not so usable anymore with all of the rocks and everything that were kind of let out in the area and made the normal area where you would dock less safe. You can maybe only
it's in
put
a
one or two boats there now when it used to be able to support 20.
Interesting.
banded haunted lighthouse.
Sure,
There's
could be that the Leviathan blood that had been burnt in there before left it in a kind of protection devoid state of sorts.
there was
Neat.
a there's this series I saw about like great works of engineering about this like crag off the coast of England that was a serious hazard, and they really wanted to build a lighthouse out there, but they had to send the crew out and they had to be there for hours at a time, and it was super dangerous and a few people died, and they almost lost their funding and they had to like stop for a season because the weather was so bad. I'm imagining something like that, but the project just failed, or just something full of ghosts from the past.
Yeah, these are all great ideas I'm seeing in the chat as well.
Yeah, I like the whole abandoned ship idea. That's cool.
Yeah. Also, and I wanted to go back for reputation for a small note. Should have. It's just a reputation is also how you get. Also becomes an XP trigger. So if you are a daring crew, you get XP triggers for taking on risky missions, essentially. So just keep a note of that. Well, if you're professional, you might get XP for like keeping your word or doing, or like, you know, doing something where less. The line for professional honorable is kind of weird, but like for, you know, executing the job to the letter, maybe that's a good one for professional honorable, or like doing a thing with like no collateral damage, no
Just
no loose
revealing
ends.
the names of the people that hired you for it. So if you get caught, it's like, yeah, well, we're professionals. There's no risk that, you know, we'll break during interrogation.
Yeah. It's another thing. It's just a thing to throw in there as like, maybe because it looks like there's kind of like, do we do that? So no, that's to sway the decision. What do people want to earn XP for?
Let's see.
Also know that I'm not the one who determines whether an XP trigger went off. It's actually you guys who determine, you folks who determine whether you acted professionally or daringly.
Let's go
Same
with
for your character. Same for your character's XP trigger. Playbook have some like, you know, XP. You should have various XP triggers for your characters. Your you know, your beliefs, your heritage, your playbook comes with a few. You are the one who decides whether those triggered or not me. That is explicit in the rulebook. So also make a note of that.
Neat. Would that be the playbook advancement?
Yeah. So also note that since you can all edit, so I'm going to write down. Or do people want to go with the like non-seaworthy ship for
I
the
like
lair?
the ship.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, sounds
It's
good.
like it's been kind of converted into a semi-houseboat.
Yeah. No, that one definitely works.
All right. So that's what we got. We have for now I've still said that for now reputation
Can
I've
we
still
get?
put
Can
it
we go to
as
the half galleon?
daring, but feel free to change that. We can also go back and change that if we want to. In the meantime, the next step of crew creation is the hunting ground. Although I believe that since you are smugglers, you do not have regular hunting grounds. Instead, you have
Cargo types?
cargo types. Yes. Um,
What are we gonna smuggle?
You know, I've been wondering about that since we first chose smuggler. I can't believe we haven't actually answered that question yet.
I mean, now we're at crew creation. Now is the time to answer that question.
Yeah.
Now that we're on hunting grounds, the question is, what kind of contraband do you transport? Normally. Of course, you can always be flexible and accept jobs for other things, but
I would imagine, given my profession, I would be able to do a lot of smuggling of illegal and unsanctioned quantities of Leviathan blood, stuff that was stolen or whisked away or lost in a wreck or otherwise, and being able to account for it as, you know, the tools that I need to do repairs on, you know, lamps and lanterns, which I can demonstrate at any time. If you want to shatter your lantern, I can repair it.
ooh, actually, here the rulebook is very friendly. Page 123 does have a short list of contraband for you to peruse.
I do
Which I'm
like the
also
idea of arcane weird. That does seem to fit into a lot of our backstories.
I was thinking similar things.
Yeah, so we have, escaped prisoners, workers fleeing contracts, um, devils and dangerous artifacts, anarchists, refugees.
Seditious art. Oh, that's great.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
The art smuggler.
I guess that would be what, medicine alchemical, or would it be arcane implements? Or no, it'd be the ectoplasmic tech.
Could be anything. Just kind of, yeah, look at that list, see if anything calls out about.
Yeah, I feel like we would probably be smuggling arcane and weird shit. I don't know
Yeah,
about the rest.
stuff like spirit essence sounds interesting too.
Hmm. Yep. Spirit essences. That is control. That is spirit essence is a controlled substance, not for drugs, but just because things can get out of hand for the things people use it for.
What is spirit essences?
Well, I have to reread, but I believe it's the raw stuff that spirits are made of.
Hmm.
I wonder it can both be spiritual, and I believe that one of the other bottled spirits. So I believe that the technology just is take a ghost and put it in a bottle.
Hmm. Now, are we smuggling them in or out of the city?
Could be both.
I like into the city because then we have to deal with whatever consequences happen.
Note that generally it's not trivial to skip town here because people need the lightning barriers or sorcerer's protections to prevent ancient ghosts or horrors of the ghost field from just ravaging them entirely. Which is why, regardless of what happens, you won't be, you know, the campaign is built around staying around Duskwall.
I'm imagining us smuggling in a crate, and there's these ornate bottles inside, and every one of them has like a name tag from like some ancient. It's like this one's an ancient nobleman or something. And there's just like the ghost inside of it.
Huh.
Vintage.
Yeah.
Less spirit bottles in the 80s.
I'm not sure why we'd be smuggling that in, but I'm sure we'll think of some reason.
There's probably a market for it.
Hmm.
Could be that people want to. I mean, a lot of it is used for, I believe, rituals, but also people might want to talk to people from the past. People might want to, talk to a dead loved one, and getting anything. The reason people need to smuggle it is that you can't just ship it. The overseers are everywhere, and if they find any of this stuff, they're gonna want to toss it into the fire generally, or get it within sanctioned hands. But yeah, I'm gonna go to the strange. There we go. So yeah. Have whispers, howls, vampires, summon horrors. There are a lot of things in this I think I'm going to look up what is essence. What is the essence of essence? Yeah, it doesn't look like specifically what essence is, but it just looks like I'm just gonna call it. Say it's the stuff that spirits are made of. Spirits are a thing in Duskwall. Everyone becomes one when they die. Um, spectral energies kind of float around the city, and so that life force can be used to distill fuel for one. It can be used for ritual to bring the semblance of the dead back in some way. Has a variety of uses. So yeah, if that's the thing, are we gonna is that what you want? Ghosts?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, unless anyone disagrees.
No, I'm loving it.
I'm fine with that. And again, it's one of those things where I feel like we would be able to mask the presence of that by having other, less egregious substances around that,
Of course.
of and adjacent to spirit stuff.
I keep making these weird notification sounds.
Yeah, I was wondering where that comes from. Is that
It's like my
on?
computer's hiccuping. Like it's
Huh.
the
It's the
Discord sound,
Discord,
but
yeah.
no one's saying anything anywhere.
Is it muting and unmuting?
Mm-hmm. Or
Could be that.
talk or whatever.
I'm just going to turn off notification sounds.
Yeah, I'm gonna list the contraband as arcane/weird.
Okay.
Just because, you have a crew that has experience with spirits. You've that's kind of spirits are your bread and butter, but it looks like you have the expert. Again, it looks like you might have the expertise to just kind of handle a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily mean that you have a reputation as weird, by the way. In fact, people might be happy to rely on, putting their dangerous stuff in sane-looking hands.
Yeah. Depends on who you're looking at and what's going on with them at the time. In some cases.
Yeah, looking. So yeah. Do you have any rules about you? But also, do you have any? So again, various jobs will come your way, even bread and butter spirit. Do you have any rules about what you will and won't carry? Also, an important question.
I don't know about you folks, but I don't really like the idea of transporting people in general that much. The double factor of having to account for them and not being able to account for them if they're going to be complete idiots.
So maybe yes to dead people is what I'm hearing.
I prefer them broken down a little more than just, fresh slabs of dead body.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm not for fucking coyoteing either, for what it's worth.
Yeah, if it's been distilled down to an essence, that's a little more my speed. But just carrying bodies around, not really. Could have some sort of disease that gets all over the ship. I can't.
Thank you, Adam, for a useful ability.
And yeah, exactly, Adam. I was gonna say if I was gonna coyote anybody, it would be with that ability.
Being immune to possession by spirits would probably be a good idea anyway. I think if we're going to be dealing in some ghosty shit, being able to know that we won't be possessed is pretty sweet, especially considering a ghost can just kill you in 4 downtimes.
Yep. Ghosts give you trauma every week, and after 4 weeks of continuous possession, you just die.
Yeah, so
Because the ghost just like drained all your life force.
that's the one aspect of longevity that I have no answer for.
You also really don't want trauma.
Nope.
Yeah, no trauma. Yeah, even if you get possessed for 2 weeks, you're not gonna. That trauma has
Halfway to
it
retirement.
makes that you have to indulge in your vice every downtime, where you get stress. It has various other problems. It's your character getting, messed up from the various activities they've been up to. So now that we have kind of an idea of what this crew does, let's actually look at the faction, at kind of the faction game. You're transporting spirits, but you aren't the only person who is doing that. You aren't the only people who are definitely not the only ones smuggling, and definitely not, dealing in the occult. So let's look. So I'm gonna look at the faction sheet for a moment. And look at who's, and also like feel free to do that yourself. Factions are on page 3. So I guess also the question to turn to the table as well is, whose business, like by starting up a new operation, whose business are you interfering with?
Whose business are we interfering with? What page is that
Yep.
on?
283 and 284.
Okay.
And yeah, the factions that Adam is pulling up are all like good kind of, ideas of like, okay, you've started smuggling around Duskwall's docks. You're mostly spirits and arcane things. Whose business is that interfering with? Because the underworld has it pretty tight. I'm also going to bring up the Dimmer sisters as well. They're kind of a general,
Oh,
a
man,
bunch
if
of
we can get a bunch-
housebound recluses with a reputation for dealing with the occult.
If we can get a bunch of singing gondoliers, on our case.
Oh yeah, the Hive are dangerous people to have as your enemy. Actually, to be fair, it's not necessarily your enemy. I'm going to just start by saying I'm going to give you the choice of paying them off or not. That's the choice you're going to be able. That's the choice you're going to get. Either you pay them some of your either you pay them some of your starting money, and they leave you alone, or they start off not liking you too well because you're just kind of taking over. You're not even giving them a cut.
So how are we interfering with this exactly? Like specifically the stuff we're smuggling, like
There are a bunch of ways. I like the so I the spirit wardens were there. The spirit wardens, they have a lock on spirits, their comings and goings, and their main goal is destroying rogue spirits, but they're also generally in control of the way of the sanctioned movement of spirit essence and spirit ghost. So for one, definitely with them, but just from a more underworld perspective, who are the occult movers and shakers in Duskwall? Because if someone wants spirit essence smuggled, then that's that's who people used to turn for, and maybe are no to
I could
quite as much.
see Lord Skurlock, who specifically doesn't like us because we got a reputation for doing all of the trade and stuff that he wasn't a part of and didn't get any, information about or wasn't asked to help out with or anything.
Note that the question isn't necessarily do they not like you. It might be that, like,
Maybe not even a like or dislike, but that this is his business, is dealing in arcane secrets and spirit stuff, and the fact that we aren't in his employ is kind of like maybe a little irksome or intriguing, perhaps.
Okay, Lord Skurlock is an interesting choice. If people are down for that, I dig
Where is he? Skurlock?
He's on the second page.
Lord. Yeah, he's L Lord Skurlock.
Okay. Where was I? Actions. Lord Skurlock.
He definitely has many fingers and many arcane pies around Duskwall.
Oh, the Lost. I patch them up all the time. Hard to be a knight without any armor.
Yep.
I like to think that there was like one particular job we did that really set this faction off, whoever it is. Not that like we've been just needling them, but like we let in a spirit we really shouldn't have, or we let in a substance that we really should have known better, and it caused a whole big thing.
Oh shit! I mean that we're gonna have time. Trust me, we're not done making enemies. This is one question of like, this is just a starting question of like, who does our business interfere with, and then the follow-up decision is, do we pay the money or do we risk angering them? Oh, we're definitely not. Like, we'll have this will at worst have you a faction like -1. You will get we will exit this crew creation with some factions at -2, possibly -3 if you want to stack. But I would not recommend having someone like -3 so you are an active war, they are trying to kill you. So let's.
I kind of like the idea of the Hive, just because we'd be directly competing with their contraband smuggling, so they'd be rivals for sure.
All right.
Which part of the sheet are we marking this on?
So this is for me to mark.
Oh, okay.
I have the faction sheet on my end. Which is literally what I pretty much posted it
Okay.
earlier. Or not. But pretty much on mine I have a sheet of every faction and what is your reputation with that faction on a scale of -3 to 3. 0 being neutral, 3 is just like you have an alliance, you help people, and -3 being like you're in open war with the faction. And yeah, I'll mark on my end like who likes you, who doesn't. You will make some friends too. Don't worry.
Okay. Friends with everyone.
But yeah, open war is generally something you don't want because open war automatically makes you lose hold of your tier. You have less time for downtime. You get more heat for each job you do, and you make just less money from everything, like half as much money. Open war is very, very risky. Yeah, that's the sheet. Also, thank you, Adam, for like being as quick as you are with like the screen grabs. I really do appreciate it. It's
Yeah,
kind
no
of
problem.
I'm gonna go get a beverage. I'll be
all
right
right.
back.
Nice. So yeah, let's I think that let's say I think the Hive are a good one to be like at I'm gonna go with the Hive for like someone who just you know, you're interfering as much like if you're they're going to want to control you to some extent. They're going to want to at least get a cut of your stuff and see
Right.
if, or at least see if they can do that. So the decision is going to be then, you have three options here. You can either pay them handsomely, give them both of your starting coins, and they start at +1 with you. Or you could just pay them one of your coin, have them at 0, or you could pay them nothing, and they're at -1 for the disrespect. That's kind of where you're standing with it.
I mean, we only have the two.
You do only have the two. So
kind
it's
of-
either you pay them off and they kind of give you room to work. 2 coin is like you don't you like respect them, and they start +1, and if you keep all your money, they're like you're trespassers essentially.
I kind of like the idea of maybe setting up a deal with them where if we're on retainer for a one-time job, if we're available, they need something done and they don't have the available hands, or it's something that they don't want their own people to be identified with for the sensitivity of the deal, etc., that we're available for it. You know, we handle it at the standard fee, but waive the charge for a rush order.
You could negotiate a deal like that in play, but for our starting scenario, it's going to pay your deal. And like, granted, it's if you choose not pay, that doesn't mean it's only you're not enemies forever. You could actually, regardless of whether you pay or not, you can. This is a dynamic game. You can negotiate deals with the factions. You can, you know, work to improve your relationship or work to sabotage your relationship, I guess. So we have 2 people for not pay. Do you have anyone for
Sorry,
pay?
Well, here's kind of the question I have. What can we do with this coin?
Actually, that is a very good question. Coin is used to pretty much increase the effect of your downtime activity or generate more downtime activities, essentially. Just if you roll poorly, you can just spend money to increase tier or just get an extra activity. It can also be used to buy upgrades for the crew. And the important thing is, if you want to get, as you accumulate, you're going to accumulate reputation with each run, or score. That's a different RPG. You're going to accumulate rep with score, and right enough pay a fee to symbolize you expanding your operation. But also know that you will get, also like, in terms of how much coin is a coin. It's like, I believe, about a purse of silver, right? And
Right.
like a full purse of silver coins. Also that you will get like at least 2 per job per score. So this is not a Well, you start with a bit less. This is not a triple blow, especially if you just give one. It's I think like either choice isn't going to be a deal breaker, but it says more about what kind of crew are you. When someone approaches you and say, "Hey, you're on my turf, but we can cut a deal if you pay me money." Are you the kind of crew that says yes, well, like we'll break a deal, or are you the kind of crew that says, go pound sand?
For me, it's more, I won't let you hurt the bottom line, but we can negotiate other things that are favorable.
I missed this. Which faction are we? Did we anger?
The Hive is because
Hive.
we're kind of encroaching on their business.
Those
Yeah.
guys.
The Hive want to know. Mm, actually, mind if I set it to I don't want you dealing with a like the Hive are useful because it's someone who's slightly lower tier. The Hive are tier 4, and I'm not sure if I want you,
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly
yeah.
what Adam said. You're I actually feel you're kind of too small potatoes for the Hive.
Let's pick on some of these other guys.
Yeah, exactly. Like remember, you're tier 0, so they're 4 tiers above you, and that generally only goes up to 5. Um,
That means they might not care that much about us either. Like,
which is the point. Like they don't care about you enough to like they don't care enough to be angry. um. Yeah, it looks like so. Yeah, let's say it's Lord Skurlock, just for like start you off with a with someone who's tier 3 as opposed to tier 4, just because otherwise, because like, the Hive is one of the biggest players in the underworld.
That makes sense.
But our story remains the same. Like Lord Skurlock is
the Foghounds would be a tier 1. That's a crew of rough smugglers looking for a patron. We could be competing with them too.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I could see that muscling it on turf.
all right. Yeah, that I need to. You read something once and you don't memorize it instantly. Fancy that. What are they called?
The Foghound. The Foghounds. And under F, not the.
It's a cool name too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Falcons actually probably makes the most sense. They're like probably the easiest direct rivals, which does put a bit of pressure off of you because if you're angering the biggest crime syndicate in Duskwall, but still, do you pay the do you let's even leave it. Let's but we still come back to the same decision that again really what it boils down to is what kind of crew are you? Are you willing to cut a deal or not? And again, none of this is permanent, right? Factions will change, coin will change hands. But when you started doing these smuggling operations, were you willing to make a show of good faith?
I I am inclined to think of us. We would cut them a deal, but not the coin. Like it would be something else.
Yeah, it's. I
Okay.
don't at the level of business we're dealing with compared to someone like the Hive. There's more than enough small-time contracts to go around, and it's not that we're competition, it's that they lack discovery.
Okay.
I have a scene in my head where the foghounds were trying to smuggle things in like a secret part of the ship, but we just discovered that stuff first, and we just stole it and started selling it ourselves.
That is a dirty move. All right, but yeah,
We didn't
either
even
way.
know it was theirs.
Yeah, finder's key. I mean, yeah, we didn't know.
Exactly. What are they gonna do? Call the police on us?
But yeah, let's so let's say that you are at -1 status with the
All right.
moving on. Next is the special ability and crew upgrades. So this is actually a team decision. Look at. I'm going to put the.
Okay.
Put the special abilities in the chat. As a group, discuss which one of these you want. You get one special ability.
I still like the Ghost Passage.
I feel like I accidentally made Ghost Passage one of my character traits already.
Yeah, I like Ghost Passage or maybe Renegades. I think Ghost Passage just fits the weird really well, though.
Yeah. I mean, a crew of people who can't be possessed sounds like a point of recruitment and organization.
I believe we can acquire other of these later. Is that right?
Yes. You will get more chances to upgrade your... And I believe that includes special abilities.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Ghost Passage too, though.
It
Renegades
sounds like
is really
that's
close
okay.
too.
Yeah, I think that's the majority at this point.
Okay, so we have a Ghost Passage, and I've marked that again, crew sheet. So I've marked that as the special ability. And now we will also choose some crew upgrades. Actually, I think a good question. How do you protect yourself from spirit possession? Who's given everyone that that protection?
We do have a Whisper that has ritual spells, I think.
We do have a
Right?
whisper that has ritual spells. That's a nice thing to have when you're dealing with the supernatural.
I feel like it's something I got or found was a characteristic long ago, because most people that got into lamp repair didn't stay sane for very long, and I was one of the rare few that did. So it kind of over time it was determined that the errant ghostly energy and spirits and malevolence and such just kind of washed right over me.
I mean, I feel like possessing Terry would be putting a hat on a hat. Like, there's no room for you.
Right.
It's kind of interesting too, because if we ever did lose the ritual, he would still be immune.
Interesting. Okay, but like, also it could be even multiple layers of defense. You've got Drudo's technology, and then you have like charms, both like, you know, you got like an occult charm on like the prow and various points on the ship.
Totally.
Multiple layers. So, and now you also get crew upgrades, which are, you know, just more stuff for your crew. There are both unique and some are generic, some are some are unique to smugglers. So I'm going to put both on the chat. This is generic upgrades that any crew can get, and these are the upgrades that that is not what I wanted. Bum. And I believe you get 2 of these. Yeah, you get 2 upgrades. And you start with 4, actually. So let me look at your playbook. What do you start with for upgrades? Okay, you do start with a vehicle.
And the prowess, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, it's those. Okay.
Um... Yeah.
Oh, I see. It's training prowess. That makes sense.
Such a good question.
I'm a little confused because there's one window that says crew upgrades, and then below that we've got the lair and the prowess, and then we have vehicle next to that.
I think that that's the difference between like ones that are unique to smuggler. Because if I look at the if I look at say one of the character sheets, the stuff in gray is stuff that's unique to a hound, and then stuff in the white box is stuff that all the characters get access to. So I think the same is true for the crew.
Yeah, so the 2 are the ones that a smuggler starts with, right? The vehicle, or smuggler crew, I mean, starts with the training prowess in the vehicle.
Yeah, training. If you have a training upgrade, you 2x. So what training means is that you have you earn 2 XP instead of 1 when you train a given XP track during downtime.
Got it.
So training just means that if you try to upgrade any, if you put XP in your prowess. So the way XP here was that you put XP in that in a certain attribute, and when the XP track is full, I believe you can put a dot in an action from that attribute.
Oh,
So
okay.
you train twice as fast for any of your prowess actions.
Oh, that's nice. My prowess is pretty shit.
So yeah, you can. Do you have? So I guess like, what do you have? Do you have people who work for you? Do you have a vault? Do you have special rigging?
On the one hand, I think it would be appropriate to have mobility for the lair. On the other hand, I do like the idea that our lair is just completely unseaworthy.
Yeah. Could have both.
Luxury fence is good.
Wait, are these? Oh, I get it. Okay. Whoops. Luxury fence is not an upgrade. It is it's a claim which you have to earn during play. Sorry, they're right next to each other, so I confuse them. But you actually only get the stuff that's under Smuggler's upgrades. The stuff on the right page is stuff that you're going to have to claim during play. It's a different kind of advancement. So unfortunately, those are not available right now. You can get rigging. You could get perfectly concealed carried items. You could have camouflaged vehicles. You have it. So if you get rover types, they are better. And of course, you could just make your layer seaworthy and say it's actually not a non-seaworthy ship. It's a non. I know that either way, you have a vehicle.
So, Adam, you like the camouflage. I kind of like the smuggler's rigging. What does everyone else think?
Let's see. And we've got two, and we can put them into the. We can put them into the gray box, or we could put them below on the other things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, if you're enrolled, it's on the character sheet as well. It's just everything in that box. You can get hidden stuff, secure stuff. It's really focused on what you do. Also, is your vehicle a boat or a is your vehicle a boat or a carriage?
Huh, I just assumed a boat.
Yeah, I figured it was a boat because we're all nautical folks.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
No, it's you get the option. So.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning I'm actually going to put it here because that already has the description written, and I'm going to just change it to because that's what it is written as on the crew upgrade sheet.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Hidden layer and quarters. That's another good one.
Quarters. What do quarters do?
You don't have to sleep where you're exposed.
Makes sense.
Oh, then we'd all be sleeping together in the same spot.
But I thought
You got like little ship hammocks.
Right.
How much would it normally cost to get quarters?
Where are we seeing? Where is quarters?
It's the no, it's layer.
It's in the
It's on
There we go.
page 95. Yeah.
There we go. Found it.
How much does it cost to get any of these things set up? The if we were to do it with coin, or is that not how it would work?
Excellent question. Let me look at crew advancement. Pretty much you get XP when you do your crew specific trigger, when you contend with challenges above your station, when you bolster your crew's reputation, or when you express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew. Um, and so that all gives you XP, right? And when you fill your crew XP track, you can either get a new special ability or 2 new upgrades. So you need how much XP?
Uh, 6 is that? No. Where's the XP ticker?
It seems like it worked out to be like a mission or two, I think.
10. 10 XP.
Yeah, it looks like looks more like 3 because how many XP triggers do you get? 1, 2, 3, 4. You get 4, so you get maximum 4. Actually, no. If you trigger multiple, then I could give you 2 XP for it. But you get like it's probably going to be more like 3 to 4 XP for the crew per session. Is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
So it's going to be like every 3 to 4 sessions you get a new crew level, which you can use to either get one of the special abilities or 2 crew upgrades.
Okay.
And then the turf stuff is more like special rewards I can give you for a mission. Because I could claim stuff like I can give you a mission to lay stake for a new supply line, and to represent that at the end of the mission, instead of the usual rewards, you get some kind of special upgrade to your crew. But what the claims have in common is that rather than getting them through XP, you're going to be getting them through in-game missions.
Gotcha.
Okay, so it looks like people are down for smuggler's rigging.
I think so.
2 items carried are perfectly concealed. Who has the most experience with concealing items on their person, you think? In this group?
Oh, that's definitely set. Not so much concealing, so much as you'd give up before you look through all of the pockets. Between the jacket and the belt and the medical bag, there's
There's too much work.
probably like 80 pockets to go through in total. And so you just give up. It's like, all right, I'm not going to sit here and check every pocket.
All right. Or actually, to let some more information, a better question is what do you normally carry concealed that you don't let people immediately see?
Usually I'm not carrying something concealed unless I'm actually doing a concealed carrying job of sorts. Otherwise, I got used to keeping 1 ration and my personal finances pretty well stashed on me. So in the event that I get knocked out or am left out of rations due to some unfortunate circumstances, I still have at least 1 more meal and the coin to pay for whatever if I need it. But as I've gotten more secure in life, I don't tend to carry those sorts of things on me because they don't really come up. So instead, I just kind of, know where I would stash those and keep them empty in case I do actually get searched.
Okay.
I mean, I'm imagining scenes where it's like you open one of your many pockets and it's like, oh, there's that croissant from last week.
Yeah, funny story about that I'll tell sometime.
Mm. The saga of the hidden croissant. Always useful to have as a smuggler.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about the pistols. Although, if you need a if you need a mid.
Might be more inclined to keep a big hidden blade instead. It's a little quieter. And, you know, these nimble hands can do work if they need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know
Um,
when a knife would come in handy. Likewise, you know, maybe some tools to jimmy a lock or pry open a crate.
Yep.
So yeah,
Well,
we got Smuggler's Ring for one upgrade. For the second one, we have quarters were mentioned. We have Hidden Layer. I also just want to throw out if you also Elite Rovers is another one.
Explain
Because like
that
if you
one.
get rovers are, it's one of the cohort types. For a tier 0 gang that's going to be 1 or 2 people. But rovers are going to be like sailors, carriage drivers, you know, scavengers, probably sailors in your case. But if you get that kind of crew, you get them elite essentially, which means that they're 1 die higher. But essentially, if you want a couple of sailor henchmen, that's another thing. That's another thing you could. That's another path you could go down with this.
That seems pretty neat.
Yeah.
I think I do like the idea of the quarters. That kind of doubles down on the immunity to possession, because if we're always staying at the place where our rituals and protections are at their strongest, it'll give us the most kind of latent protection even when we step off the ship.
All right. So, are people is how are people? So concealed. So quarters. Sorry, not quarters. Quarters.
Yeah, I mean, I also think there'll be a lot of fun scenes of us just derping around the ship, serving dinner and stuff.
All right. So I'm gonna put down quarters as an upgrade. So let's go back to the faction sheet because
It says
this
that whenever we get an upgrade, it's like there's a faction that cares about it one way or the other.
so one faction helped you get one of your upgrades, and another faction was screwed over when you got your upgrade. They don't like you. So let me tell you who actually likes you enough to help you get an upgrade set up.
Is there some kind of like house flipper faction that set up our sweet digs for us?
I'm gonna say that wait, who are who's the weeping? You're well, like we've got 2 people who docs, right?
So
Yep.
you cut out there a little.
Probably got.
Or,
Let's say that you have say that with the dockers, just
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yep.
from the people you grew up with, and just the context you made doing jobs. So if you want, you can pay them to have that +1 become a +2. If you do you ever give back to the community at the docks, just spend money on it.
I like that idea.
What
Yeah,
tier
me
were the
too.
Dockers?
There are 3, I think.
Yeah, they're tier 3.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
It's like they work hard, we come out and we say hi and like, we buy them lunches, or we look after their pets when they're gone or something. I don't know.
yeah,
Where are the
I like it.
where is their faction?
We're just greasing a lot of palms whenever we bring cargo
Also
in.
that. Yeah, they're under labor and trade.
Okay. Faction blue. No, because they have the Oh, they actually don't get a faction write-up. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, let's so are you spending that coin?
Sounds like it.
Okay, so the dot you have regardless of whatever other factions are messing, you're popular. You do have that to your advantage. Which also means I'm going to remove
The
one coin.
dockers are, of course, the ones who would be most likely to come across our property and be in its proximity for long periods of time. So, best to keep them happy so they've got eyes out for us rather than them being in our business all the time as rivals where they will just fuck our shit up. I don't know why that house is burning, you know. Oh, you know, we should call the fire brigade. Woo, woo. Oh well, it's just burning.
Oh, too late.
Yeah. I don't want to be enemies with them. I want to be friends with them. That makes sense.
Totally.
Is
Yeah.
Thistle already rich when she arrives?
Who?
Thistle?
Thistle.
Thistrel. Like,
The dockers thing might fit with Ellen, the dock worker contact too.
I just have a scene in mind where she gets off the boat and they like, you know, carry her bags and she just gives tips because she doesn't know like what's good money here.
Could be one way you. But yeah, the dockers. The dock workers are a tier 3. Like they work as a tier.
yeah.
So to offset that, I think I'm going to give you an equally let's say that
I stole their, well, I didn't steal their blueprint, whoever it was. They commissioned me to make these specialized smuggler rigs to kind of keep things hidden. And, well, it costs a lot more materials than they had put up for. And when I reported that to them, they didn't want to put up the extra coin. So I told them, all right, well, you know, give me what you got and I'll, you know, get them from the warehouse for you. So they gave me the coin. I went back to the warehouse. They didn't see me again. The coin ended up getting spent getting the heat off, unfortunately, so no plus there, but at least we got the blueprint and I was able to manufacture enough for everybody.
no.
No?
Let's not for yours and gondoliers. I'm thinking like I want you to I want you folks to have. So I'm gonna say that it's Lord Skurlock.
Okay.
Sorry, you cut out there. What'd you say?
As that patron. He deals with enough you know, he's got his own like you have a rivalry with the Foghound because smuggling, but you've angered Lord Skurlock. He starts at -2 for you.
Ooh,
All right.
I don't like that.
Oh, if not, then you folks can veto it and come up with something else.
I mean, it's a little nervous starting at that level, but I guess we do daring stuff.
That's true.
For factions by law is for me, but I would like to like if I'm giving you favors with a level 3 faction, which the Dockers are, they hold surprising power. I do want to give you it's an equally tiered faction is what I can say.
Yeah, I get it.
And he's involved in a lot of arcane
If you're
stuff.
making friends, you're making at least.
Yeah, that's fair.
We might have stolen some of his spirit essence.
You might have stolen some of his spirit essence. Yeah, you've rubbed the wrong way a few times.
We kind of smuggled his brother's ghost and lost track of it, or he wanted us to get it back for him, but we were put in a lot of danger and wanted a premium, and he wouldn't pay up, and that whole deal went sour. And I think we threw it down the gutter at some point.
Oof.
Like calling each other's bluff. Maybe it was his favorite dog. I don't know.
Brother and dog. So yeah, now we're going to pick a favorite contact. I'm gonna have you look at the gonna post this. It's actually everyone should have access to Roll20. So if you look at the crew sheet, there's going to be a list of
It doesn't say what their descriptions are, unfortunately.
dock worker is it. That's same for the rulebook also questions. So I'll just post that on chat. There we go. So yeah, we have dog worker, a drug dealer, an arms, we're a spirit trafficker, an anarchist, and a tavern owner. One of those is just a regular contact for you.
Now, what do contacts do?
Contacts are I don't believe there is a I read through the book. There doesn't seem to be a defined like this is the mechanical impact of contact section. I believe they're more
He just had a mega vomit.
set up for the story. And if you want an in, right, you can say, "Hey, I know this, and I can give you like a +1 die or whatever." Because regularly, like if you're working from a controlled, if things are that, I can say it's a controlled situation, which means that you suffer fewer consequences if you fail or if you partially succeed. I can say that you have increased effect. I can give you more dice. Yada yada yada. Generally, having a contact for that is useful. It's also just a way for you to get lead things. Like if you're wondering how do I get a lead on the Dimmer Sisters' new on the artifacts the Dimmers have been getting, a contact is a good way to get to get that information.
What if, and hear me out, what if our contact is one of those seagull variants? A really smart, trained one who always knows what's on board ships.
You do need to pick from the ones on the.
Oh, you do? Oh, dang. Never mind.
It's a good idea though, but unfortunately,
Was it though? I feel like that was an interesting but bad idea. I mean, just for reference, I'm also in a D&D group. I'm doing a Beastmaster Ranger, and my beast companion is a pair of chickens.
Nice.
Like I get the feeling for the bird setup, I was supposed to choose like a hawk or some useful bird.
but you get two of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, Niall. Yeah, let's put down Niall because that also give me some ideas. So yeah, Niall is also since you're trafficking in arcane and weird, it's good to have a contact who specializes. She can help, find you jobs or give you more information about jobs.
Someone who like knows about these ghosts.
Yeah. However, that has a faction element too. Niall has her own entanglements. So I'm gonna say that Niall actually is friendly with the Dimmer sisters. She might even be one? Not sure. She's either friendly with them or she is one. Sister. I feel like you guys, you folks could use some friends in the underworld, since you've already made enemies of both the Foghounds and Lord Sherlock. Let's throw you a bone there. So that's the Dimmer sisters at +1.
From what I remember reading of that faction, they were one of my favorites anyway.
Yeah. But Niall also has some enemies. And you working with her regularly gives you a -1 with one faction. So let's say that ooh. Let's bring the Weeping Lady into this. The Weeping Lady is they're kind of a
Pyramid
one of the
Scheme Church. It's Pyramid Scheme Mega Church. That's what I'm getting from it.
yeah. They're kind of a fringe religion that does some shady stuff. They
The Book of Devaranetics. You can get your Cratons read with an S meter.
The Lost ex-soldiers, the grinders are. Actually, we're gonna make it the grinders. Yeah, we're gonna make it the grinders. They're a good heal. The grinders are a group of former dock workers who are they're a vicious gang of former dockers and Leviathan blood refinery. So I feel like they're also a tier 2, like the Dimmer sisters, and I feel you could use some bloodthirsty enemies. So let's put those at a -1 for now.
I mean, I've seen people use grinder. I don't think they're thirsty for blood per se.
So now that we have that contact set up, we have a lot. Let's see. To recap, you're at a -2 with Lord Skurlock and a -1 with the Grinder. But you have a +1 with the Dimmer sisters and a +2 with the Dockers. You have some Dockers for you, some Dockers against you. Most Dockers are, but the Grinders, who are a criminal gang made up of Dockers, don't look too favorably on you. And definitely, the dock workers are going to play an important role in campaign. Maybe they're kind of there's a growing unrest in the docks over the general treatment of the dock workers. We'll save that for a little bit later when we when we define the starting situation of our campaign, which will probably be the last thing we do before we close for the night. So crew, we have our upgrades, we have our contact, we have most of our things. I feel like wait, no, that's it. We're done.
Do we get edges and flaws on the vehicle or not yet?
That's only if you get to the
Cohort
I
thing.
think that's only if you get the one of the family. Yeah, no, like you only get edges if you have the like part of the family special ability.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise,
That must be where I saw that.
yep. So otherwise, it's just otherwise it's a normal boat. You can give it some character, but it doesn't have the same mechanical character that it has if your boat is like part of the family. So with all that in mind, what are we calling this crew? What do you go by?
I feel like it has to compete with the Foghounds.
You do need an equally cool name, yes.
The top dogs. No. Um,
Spirits of Salt.
Actually, before we go for a name, let's Saltfang. Huh. The Shepherds. Good names, all good names.
Soul
Yeah, let's.
Shepherds?
What?
Soul Shepherds.
Soul.
Psychopomps.
Soul Shepherds, Psychopomps, Saltfangs. But yeah, so far it looks like yeah, I'm sensing a theme on these names. Okay, something looks to have kind of caught someone's attention. Yeah, no, Duskwall has its big canals, kind of like Venice, where they're kind of gondoliers going around. So it is a city full of literal. Um, so yeah, ferrymen. Psychopomps is another one that's like kind of on a similar theme that someone mentioned. So do people feel ferrymen, psychopomps? What are people?
I'd be fine with either of those, honestly.
Okay, what do other people think?
Neither one quite feels like it does it for me just yet.
I almost feel like Ferryman needs something in front of it, but I can't think of what.
Cult name generation. But actually, I wonder if there's a crew name. One just to kind of.
I mean, I'm thinking like, you know, Karen and Acheron or the River Styx, something like that.
Eyes of the Storm. It's bold, daring.
Storm daggers. Interesting. Phantom ferryman.
Yeah.
Do people want to actually? Let's start.
Actually.
That were fans.
Yeah. Like modify it to kind of like. All right, how do people feel about the Phantom Ferryman?
That's,
Right on.
Sounds good. I mean, if not ferryman or phantom, then variations, spectral ferryman,
Yeah.
phantom sailors, phantom boats, the ghost ship.
It's like you gotta be careful with these names because they're gonna think we're actual ghosts.
That's not
The
gonna.
Seagull Buccaneers.
This- Um.
I do like the Seagull Buccaneers, I won't lie.
All right, so Phantom Ferryman or Seagull Buccaneers?
Seagull Buccaneers is definitely a high school football team name.
All right, so we got one vote Phantom Ferryman.
Yeah, I'll go Phantom Ferryman
Phantom
too.
Ferryman's good.
All right, I think that's it.
Okay.
Ancient or
Formed 3
glorious,
days ago,
right?
but ancient. Well, no, we're just co-opting some old culture and calling ourselves the ancient something or other.
So, to recap, we have the Phantom Ferryman. They are operating in Duskwall's docks for a bit, smuggling various arcane and just weird things. They're known to take on some. By the way, do you want to keep the daring reputation?
It sounds fun.
Daring,
All right.
Daring does sound fun. I'm still split between that and professional.
Looks like
I'm still feeling daring.
Daring?
okay.
All right.
Let's keep daring.
All right.
So yeah, we got the Phantom Ferry gun operating the Duskwall docks. They're taking on strange and daring jobs that other crews don't quite don't want to take. They are popular among the locals. How did this crew form? Let's kind of who started this? Who's to blame? I guess all of you to some extent.
I feel like
Um,
a few of us knew each other beforehand because we live here, and then I think 2 of us are recent arrivals.
yeah. I'm just imagining like so to run like an occult operation. You definitely just imagine
I
someone seeing like, oh, whispers about dollar signs.
I could imagine there was a shipment that required some piece of specific equipment to not be shut off during the course of the trip, and I couldn't figure out a way to keep it powered and operational for more than a few minutes after leaving it alone. So it's just like, all right, whatever. I'll just stay on this damn thing, sail out, and you can pay me more, and kind of ended up joining the crew instead.
All right.
I still like the idea that we accidentally undercut the Foghounds, and they were like, "Well, we might as well keep doing this.
Right? I like that.
We're all in."
In for a penny, in for a pound.
That makes sense.
And so we have Andrew and Terry setting up some of their using some of their dot contacts for setting up a layer and setting up the beginning operations. We probably have some of our Dagger Isle people like Thistle and Andrew setting up some of the Spirit connections, and with that you have and of course Czar setting up the infrastructure, and with that we have ourselves a crew.
All right.
So
Woohoo!
thank you for yeah. Jazzy. So yeah, thank you for joining. I will be spending next week kind of coming up with a starting scenario for the campaign and using the seeds that we planted regarding which factions are favorable and not favorable to you to kind of see what precarious situation will we find ourselves when we drop into next week. I actually really like the book's suggestion for how to set the starting state of the campaign is that there are two factions are at war with each other, and a third one either stands to profit or get hurt by the conflict. Kind of a nice, you know.
Yeah, good hook.
Yeah. So, yeah, the Phantom